Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today, I have a very interesting comparison for you. I've got a 2008 Kawasaki Concours 1400, and this is really a heavy-duty, big-bore sport tourer. And I also have Honda's 2016 NC700X DCT ABS model. And this is really a kind of a middleweight adventure bike, and really by definition it's meant to do really most types of riding pretty well. And what I'm going to do today is really look at these two bikes. We're going to actually go for a ride here in just a minute, but we'll ride these back to back and just kind of compare them. What are they like to ride? You know, what are the differences? What is the advantage of having, you know, double the displacement and more of the touring bike design? What's the advantage of that as opposed to the advantages of an ADV type design where you have more emphasis is put on lightweight, efficiency, ease of use. If you are in the market for a used bike, for around the same price, you can buy a little bit older flagship model bike, such as this Kawasaki Concours, or you can buy a mid-range model such as Honda's NC700X. Some high points for the Kawasaki Concours are just a monster motor out of the ZX14. It makes right around 160 horsepower. It's a very smooth, very refined motorcycle. It has the adjustable windshield on it. It does have saddlebags that you can put on it. It has tremendous carrying capacity with the saddlebags. Some of the advantages here, some of the highlights for the NC700X, it has an automatic transmission, so that just really, as far as ease of use goes, that's tremendous. It also has ABS brakes. It has a very large storage underneath where the gas tank is normally on a normal bike. This is a huge storage compartment. The NC700X is also extremely fuel efficient, and the last time I had one, I averaged right around 70 miles to the gallon, so that's incredible. It may be a little bit less on the DCT model, but still, you know, 60 plus miles to the gallon is a real factor, as opposed to around 40 miles to the gallon in my type of riding average on the Concours. My goal in this review is to help you decide if you are in the market for either of these bikes, you know, which one makes more sense for you, which one is going to get you up early in the morning with a smile on your face, ready to get out and ride. And if you get the right bike for you, then you're going to be, you know, telling your friends about riding. You're going to kind of spread the joy of motorcycling. And really, for me, it's a hobby that has just had, you know, created a lot of tremendously good memories over the years, and I would like to share that with people. Conversely, if you buy the wrong bike for you, well, what you end up with is, you know, a bike that sits in the garage. It's a money pit. It's a boat anchor. You know, you don't want to ride it, or if it scares you, you know, you tell other people how it scared you and, you know, how you hate motorcycles, and that's really no good for the sport. So, you know, is it a little bit odd to compare a bike that's twice the size versus something that's half the size? Well, maybe, but like I say, you know, price-wise in the used bike market, man, there's a lot of options between, you know, $3,500 and $8,000. There's just a tremendously wide range of motorcycles available. So I think this is an applicable comparison, and hopefully one that you'll find fun and entertaining. All right, let's ride. I am riding Honda's 2016 NC700X DCT ABS, and I'm riding this bike back to back with Kawasaki's Concours 1400, and the 1400 is a 2008 model. But I thought it'd be interesting to do a comparison between what I would consider a light-duty touring bike and a more of a heavy-duty sport touring bike. Now this bike, engine-wise, is
about half of what the Concours is. It's a 700cc twin cylinder versus the Kawasaki's 1400cc four cylinder. And I'll say this right off the bat, you know, on a back road, the Honda is a little bit less intimidating. It doesn't generate the speed as quickly as the Kawasaki, but it's lightweight. It seems to handle very nicely. It has, in naked configuration with no protruding bags or anything, it still has tremendously nice storage. And the Kawasaki Concours has more storage, but only when you fit the two large hard bags, which really makes the bike a little bit wide and cumbersome. So in naked configuration, the Honda actually has the advantage as far as storage goes. The Kawasaki really doesn't have any. Power-wise, as I said, and as you would expect, the Kawasaki has the advantage. But I would say on a tighter back road or, you know, city commuting, the lighter Honda is going to really have the advantage. And as far as just ease of use, you know, if you're a less experienced rider, the Kawasaki, that 1400 and the manual transmission and everything can be a little bit intimidating, where this Honda just isn't. It's got the DCT, which is essentially an automatic 6-speed, and you know, you just twist the throttle and go, and the bike worries about the shifting and what gear to be in and all of that. And I've been riding a lot of years, but it seems pretty good. This transmission seems pretty good, even in drive mode, at picking the proper gear. And so when you come out of a corner, you just twist the throttle and it accelerates. This bike also has some really nice safety features. It's got the ABS. And I know the Concours was available with the ABS, but my model doesn't have it. You know, real world power wise, this bike has plenty. It's never going to be the rocket ship that the Concours is, but it's always got more than adequate performance. And the fact that it automatically downshifts for you and selects the optimum gear is really nice. You just twist that throttle. Fuel mileage, this bike gets on the manual version. I've ridden the manual version for quite a while, and was averaging right around 70 miles to the gallon, sometimes more. And so it's one of the most fuel efficient bikes that I've had, and probably the best commuter bike out there as far as you know, something that's just going to be efficient and easy to ride and plenty of storage. This is styled like an ADV bike, an adventure bike, and so it's a little bit aggressive looking, and I like this second generation of styling. I think they made it more crisp and nice looking than the first generation. Really, the main advantage that the Kawasaki has over this is once you get out on the highway, at highway speeds, that Concours, you're enveloped in a pocket of still air. And so it is just thoroughly comfortable at speeds, you know, anywhere from 55 up to 90, you're, you know, and probably beyond, you're still in a pocket of very clean air. And the bike just has ample power to spare. It's just very, you know, if you wanted to go long distance and predominantly highway, really the Kawasaki has a lot of advantages over this bike. So really, you know, if you're thinking about which one would be right for you, do you want something that's more of a commuter and a light duty tourer, I would say the Honda is certainly going to be a probably the best in my thinking. It is the best commuter bike ever designed. The storage situation on it, the fuel economy, even the ease of use with this DCT just makes this tremendous. And power's adequate. It gets right up to speed. It'll get right up to highway speed. And like an automatic car, if you want more gas, just give it more throttle. Comfort-wise, I would say the seat on the Concours, as you would expect on a touring bike, is probably going to be a little bit more long distance comfortable. This seat isn't bad. I just don't think it would be as comfortable over the long haul if you're doing some serious touring. As far as smoothness goes, this Honda is not as supremely smooth as Kawasaki's big 1400. It's not as smooth as the ST1300 either, but it's not bad. It's got more of a V-twin. It feels like a V-twin. It's a parallel twin, but it has more of a kind of a V-twin rumble to it and a V-twin feel. Gets up to highway speeds very quickly. I'm not doing highway speeds right now, and you know, I do get certainly more wind on my chest. It's pushing me back a little bit. It doesn't have the wind protection of the Kawasaki touring bike, but you can put a larger windscreen on this if you're going to be doing more highway. My knees and legs are getting some more wind as well, but it's not bad. It's very smooth at this speed. Another thing to think about is, you know, where you're located in the country and what kind of riding conditions you're going to be riding in. If you're going to be riding in warmer weather predominantly, then this bike is going to be advantageous because you get more wind cooling, and then you don't get as much heat off the motor as you do on the Kawasaki. Kawasaki just throws a decent amount of heat, which is great on a day like today. I actually rode that earlier today in the colder weather, and man, I was just super comfortable. And right now, after about half an hour of being out on this bike, I'm chilly, but it's around 40 degrees, so it is not optimal. Yeah, with the nice easy handling on this bike and the lightweight and the ease of the automatic, it's just a really superb commuter bike. The brakes aren't bad. Personally, I like dual disc brakes, but really for the weight and the power of the bike, this single disc it's adequate. I'm really impressed by the way this DCT engages the clutch. It's very smooth. It's not jerky. Very nice. I am riding Kawasaki's 2008 Concours 1400 back-to-back with Honda's NC700X DCT. And in this comparison, I am comparing a heavy-duty touring bike, which is this Concours, to a lighter-duty bike, and that would be the Honda. And right off the bat, man, I just got back from that Honda, and this Kawasaki is so much warmer. My legs are just protected from the wind. They're getting a little bit of engine heat, and it feels great. It's a cold day, and while that would be problematic on a hot day, on a day like today, man, it's fantastic. Another thing I'm noticing right off the bat is just how smooth this bike is in comparison. It's not that the Honda is vibey at all, it's just that this is buttery smooth. This bike has a little bit narrower bars. It's going to be a little bit more stable at higher speeds. It's not quite as flickable as the Honda, but the handling really is nice for a big machine like this, one that weighs as much as it does. Nice thing too, if I want more wind protection on this bike, I've got the adjustable windscreen. I can scroll that up and now just have a lot more wind protection. That's nice. It's nice on the highway to be able to do that. I'll leave it down for the video just so you can see a little better. Power-wise, the Honda never feels inadequate, but this thing is like driving around with a bazooka. It always has like ultimate power on tap. You do have to think about shifting, which you don't on the Honda, but it's something, if you're an experienced rider and used to shifting, it's really rewarding. The shifting on this is very, very smooth. It's got a nice transmission. Power delivery is excellent. Yeah, stability and wind protection on this bike is fabulous. And even though this bike is significantly heavier than the Honda, it handles its weight quite nicely. And then, of course, anytime you want, this thing will hit warp speed. It's interesting. I really enjoy the Honda, and I think it would be less fatiguing to ride as a commuter. But man, I love this bike. I just love that smooth power. I like the way that it handles. I like the wind protection. I like the comfort. The seat is noticeably better. Whereas on the Honda, I rode it for about 30 minutes today, and it was getting cold and ready to get off and go back inside and warm up. I've been riding this bike for over an hour, and I just want to keep going. I want to keep riding. It really, with the full fairing wind protection, it really extends my riding season all the way through the winter. It's mid-February right now, and I really enjoy this. Now, the tables get turned on a hot day, and I don't generally ride fully faired motorcycles. So if you live in Florida, or if you live in a place where it's warmer more consistently, or you just don't ride in the cold weather, then you may enjoy the Honda a little bit more. It just throws less engine heat. That's fun.
What a lot of fun. Each of these bikes is just tremendously nice to ride in their own way. I would say if you're a beginner rider or less experienced, really you can't go wrong with a bike like the NC700X. It has just easy handling characteristics, great convenience features, great safety features, and if you get the DCT model, it really, an automatic transmission on a bike, and it's a, sit-up motorcycle and not a scooter, that really makes it unique. And I think it's the only automatic middleweight ADV bike. I don't think, I know Kawasaki nor Suzuki offer an automatic in their ADV bikes in this, like a Versus 650 or the V-Strom 650. I was really impressed by Honda's DCT transmission in their NC700X. It was intuitive. It seemed to adapt to the way that I was riding the motorcycle. I really didn't see any downside to it, to be completely honest, over a standard transmission motorcycle. Very enjoyable, and after a little bit, it was a little odd at first, but after a little bit, I really saw the advantages of it and really enjoyed it. The Concours, on the other hand, man, this thing is wickedly fast. It's supremely smooth. It really is a flagship model. And, as such, probably, cost of ownership over a couple of years, and especially if you're buying a flagship model, a lot of times you have to buy one that's a little bit older or maybe has a little bit higher mileage, and you may end up spending more money over the course of ownership on things like fuel, tires, service, regular service stuff. The middle range stuff is designed to be pretty efficient fuel-wise and maintenance-wise. Neither one of these is a high maintenance bike, but that's just something to consider. Another thing to consider is the insurance. You'll probably pay a little bit more on the Concours 1400 than you will on the NC700, but that's something you need to look into prior to buying a motorcycle. Just kind of count the cost of ownership before getting into it, because you want to make an educated decision. If it were me and I had to put my money where my mouth is, I really like the Concours. I'm actually a little bit surprised here. It's the kind of bike that I just want to get out and ride. Now, right now, it has the advantage because it is cold, and I can still ride this and really enjoy it. And that bazooka power and just how smooth it is and the comfort, it's really a hard package to beat. It's really not bad on a back road. It's not quite as nimble as the Honda, but really for the weight difference and the size difference, it really is a good handling machine. Man, if it were a warmer day and I did this comparison, I may be picking the Honda. I've ridden one of these 2,500 miles over the course of the summer, and I loved it. It was fantastic. Probably the best commuter bike ever designed, and would do any type of riding. It just doesn't have, for me, it doesn't have quite the level of excitement that the Concours has. But I hope this helps you. I hope it helps you make an educated decision. And let me know if you like one of these bikes better than the other. If you think I made the wrong choice here, please post them in the comments below. Certainly, motorcycling is subjective, and everybody has a different opinion. So I hope you found this video informative and entertaining, and until next time, ride safe.